What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another War Within video. We are going to look at the SUNFURY hero talent tree here. This is the combo between Arcane Mage and Fire Mage. And I'm going to go through the entire talent tree, and then I'm going to look at it from an Arcane perspective and a Fire perspective. First, I'm going to talk about Arcane and some of the major changes that have happened, and I'm going to give you a big TLDR here. This is not a spec I'm very good at, okay? I need you all to reserve your judgment here, because my ability to play Arcane Mage, period, is completely, I don't know, it's not very good. That being said, Arcane Mage is pretty stupid, all right? Look at this thing. This is so stupid. Conjure Mana Gem, Arcane Familiar, Mirror Image, Evocation, Arcane Blast, Arcane Orb, Use Your Potion, Time Warp, Radiant Spark, Nether Tempest, Arcane Surge. Those are all different words, okay? Those are all different words, different spells. All right, now, the first thing I do want to talk about is the changes that are coming to Arcane Mage, because this is a pretty massive deal, and I need all of you guys to weigh in on this, okay? Because I don't know how much this is going to change the game for Arcane Mage. I suspect it's going to change a lot. Blizzard is removing many of these words that I just said, okay? Conjure Mana Gem, gone. Arcane Familiar, full passive now, not a 10-second cast anymore. Your Radiant Spark is gone, and your Nether Tempest is gone. Okay? They removed 4 spells from your, like, opener. Your ridiculous, I need a PhD thing opener, okay? A lot of that is gone, and I think that's interesting, and I want to hear what you think about that, okay? Like, Mana Gem is gone. Arcane Familiar now comes from casting Arcane Intellect, and it just increases your max mana by 10%. But it's just permanent now when you have Arcane Intellect on, which I don't even think I have that on. Okay, everybody look away. That's there, okay? Nether Tempest is gone from the middle of the tree. Again, the Mana Gem is gone, and then Radiant Spark is gone from the bottom of the tree. Radiant Spark essentially has turned into Magi Spark, from what I can tell, where your Touch of the Magi now also conjures a spark, increases the damage dealt by your next Arcane Barrage, Arcane Blast, Arcane Missiles. But you no longer have to do, like, the spark into 4 Arcane Blasts into, like, you don't have to do that perfect execution anymore. They've just baked a lot of it in. So I think that's a great deal. I think that's awesome for Arcane Mage. I'm assuming that it's good. I need you guys to tell me if it's good or bad, though, okay? That they've removed a lot of the complexity, because I think one thing is very interesting about Arcane Mage. To me, Arcane Mage screams a class that is like a spec, that allows you to express your ability to play this game well. This is an incredibly complicated spec. I would argue maybe the most complicated spec. I've looked at them all. I think this is probably the most complicated spec in the game. I don't even think it's close, actually. So by Blizzard removing Radiant Spark and Mana Gem and Nether Tempest and the Familiar, like, is that gonna take away some of the fun that you have playing this spec, or is it just gonna make everything better? I would love to hear your thoughts on that, genuinely, in the comments down below. One thing they have kept is the Evocation pre-poll. So you've got Evocation plus Siphon Storm still, and you're going to want to do that pre-poll to get your Intellect buff. That is still there. This whole tree is just kind of dramatically different, though. I think the gameplay loop is still similar in the sense that you're going to want to have Arcane Surge and Touch of the Magi. I don't know if you want to put Arcane Surge inside of Touch of the Magi. Like, you don't do that in the current opener, even on the AoE opener. Where is this? Yeah, here it is. So I believe you're doing your Spark stuff and then Nether Tempest, and then you're doing Mana Gem alongside Surge, and then I don't even know where Touch of the Magi is. I can't even find it in here. Did I miss Touch of the Magi somewhere? Is there a symbol? The point, there you go. It's Arcane Surge before Touch of the Magi. When I look at Touch of the Magi, it accumulates 20% of the damage you deal. I'm assuming you would want to put Arcane Surge inside of Touch of the Magi, not before it, but clearly that's not what the people think. So let me know if that's different now. If you think that this might change now because of all the removal of the other spells, I would love to hear from you. Arcane Mage is dramatically different now. Let's look at SUNFURY for Arcane Mage. What does this actually do? Let's go through the hero talents, and I'm going to show you some really low tier gameplay on Arcane, and then I'm going to show you Fire. Every 4 times you consume clear casting, you conjure a Spellfire Sphere. You can see them, they're above my head right now. So I have 3 of them right now. It increases your spell damage by 2% per sphere, and it stacks up to 5 times. Okay? Very simple. This entire, tree, this entire tree is really about getting more spell damage, and then it's about this Phoenix that you're going to summon right here, and then it's about the capstone node giving you a substantial buff whenever you summon the Phoenix. It's really what it's all about. You get spell damage, you summon a Phoenix, the Phoenix is going to do damage, and then when you cast your major ability, which is Surge or Combustion, then you get this really big buff. This one's Arcane Soul, so we're going to get to that in a second. Arcane Phoenix, when you cast Arcane Surge, that's your big cooldown. Summon an Arcane Phoenix, it casts spells, okay? There are other talents related to the Phoenix, okay? Right here, your Arcane Phoenix will cast Supernova or Gravity Lapse, or you can actually just get the spell Supernova if you want to. I think it's better to just have the passive thing going off. There's this, this is a great combo here. Conjuring a Spellfire Sphere increases the damage of your next Arcane Blast or Barrage, and then consuming this buff, so you conjure a sphere, you press blast, that's consuming the Burden of Power buff. When you do that, your next arcane orb calls down a storm of 4 meteorites. Each meteorite's impact reduces the cooldown of your arcane orb by 2 seconds and generates an arcane charge. So you're gonna need a weak aura to track this. From what I was just testing on the dummies, I have no idea when this went off. I have no idea if it even happened. I have no conception really. I know that I could watch the meteorites come down and then I might know, but like my buttons are glowing all the time anyway, so I think you genuinely are gonna need a weak aura to track this sucker, okay? But this is a powerful passive bonus that goes off here. Very powerful. You conjure a sphere, you consume a buff, and then you get this crazy buff and you're going to spend it. So it's very, very cool. Spellfire Spheres can now stack up to 5 times instead of 6. So this says every 4 times you consume a clear casting. Now this can go up to 5. Or you can get generating Spellfire Sphere while your Phoenix is active, causes it to cast an exceptional spell. So that's like during your major cooldown. You're basically doubling down on your major cooldown, doing a ton of damage. That little window that you open up, it's just going to be even bigger, okay? Consuming clear casting grants you haste. This is a great little buff, and it has ties in with the capstone. When under the effects of a casted arcane surge, you gain twice as many stacks of this haste buff, which is very nice. So instead of getting 3%, I'm assuming you get 6% haste, up to 10 times, which is insane. Prismatic Barrier grants you avoidance and leech. That's great. This is very important. Whenever you cast Arcane Surge, its duration is extended by up to 2.5 seconds, depending on how many spheres are above your head. So if you have 5 spheres, you can get 2.5 more seconds on the duration of Arcane Surge, which is the mana regeneration and spell damage buff. So that's pretty good. Instead of a 16.5 seconds, it'll be even, actually, is that giving it the buff? I don't know. You'll get a bigger duration on the spell damage buff. Or you can get a bigger execute. Your arcane bombardment damage bonus is increased to 130%. So it's normally 100% in execute. Now it's 130% if you want to take that talent. So all in all, guys, you're getting spell damage. You're summoning a Phoenix. The Phoenix is casting exceptional spells. And then you're getting this buff, which makes your next Arcane Barrage cost no mana, grant clear casting, and grant 4 active charges. So again, I think you're just going to have to like track this somehow. Okay, so I'll show you some gameplay. Again, the gameplay hasn't really changed, except that I'm missing a bunch of buttons now. From what I can tell, I'm just missing a whole bunch of buttons. I don't know how to play this once again, so please be gentle. Actually, no, okay, evocation. Evocation first. I got that. There you go. And we're going to do an Arcane Blast into an orb, and then we're going to do, I don't even know, we're going to do Touch the Magi. We're going to consume that. I'm trying to get a cast on my, I should be casting like Time Warp. There we go. We'll do Time Warp. There we go. Missiles into this. I'm trying to fit my surge in. I messed up the surge there. I know you're all going to kill me. The point is, there's my Phoenix. You can see the Phoenix is up there now. And he's doing exceptional things. I'm not doing exceptional things because I have no idea what I'm doing. And I missed my surge. I'm trying to get my surge inside my Touch of the Magi window, but I messed it up. So you can all just shoot me, okay? Oh, I have gold. This is the thing right here. See all the free. Okay, that was actually really cool. That was, I believe, this bonus here. So I thought this only lasted for one Arcane Barrage. It actually lasts for like a certain amount of time. This is actually very cool. So this is cool. You get Arcane Soul for 3 seconds plus an additional 0.5 physics exceptional spellcast. So that was me casting barrage after barrage after barrage after barrage, and it wasn't consuming my charges. So that is an incredibly powerful buff. You're gonna want to track that, in my opinion. But basically, it's like you cast your major cooldown, and when your major cooldown is done, your Phoenix will expire, and he's gonna give you that buff. Okay, so that is a powerful, powerful buff, in my opinion. And I don't know what you can do with that necessarily, but your barrages can just keep going, and you're at maximum maximum charges. Sorry, holy cow. You're going to be at maximum charges the whole time, every time your barrage goes off. For each arcane charge, it does 40% additional damage and then grants you mana back. So that's a massive buff. I think this is probably the most important thing in this tree, and you're going to see it. It also happens for Fire Mage, which I will switch to now. I'm not going to show you any more terrible gameplay. So I just wanted to show you that for Arcane. I'll switch to Fire now, and I know I didn't play that very well, but I don't think your rotation on Arcane is really going to change that much, except for the Memory of Alar part of it, where you're getting those Arcane Barrages for free. I don't know. Maybe that changes the way that you're thinking of playing it, but I would say by and large, the Arcane rotations haven't dramatically changed, except that they have been trimmed a bit, and you're not having to cast Nether Tempest and Mana Gem and all that stuff. So I think it's a big W for Arcane Mage in terms of the simplicity of the spec. It's much simpler than it used to be. And with the SUNFURY tree, you're just adding on additional layers of damage and proccing a bird, and the bird does damage. And then when the bird expires, you get a really big buff window where you can cast barrages over and over and over again. That's basically what you're getting for SUNFURY for Arcane Mage, okay? Hopefully I've described that well enough, and you know, I know I butchered the rotation. So we're gonna get to Fire here. SUNFURY for Fire is the exact same. It just works with Combustion instead of Arcane Surge. Okay, when you get this Memory of Alar bonus, it gives you Hyperthermia, which is crazy strong for Fire Mage. I think the other buff for Arcane Mage was equally strong, but like, man, I just feel like I actually understand this buff a little bit better than I understand the Arcane one, because I'm a dummy. All right, when Combustion is not active, consuming a hot streak has a low chance to cause all Pyroblasts and Flame Strikes to have no cast time and be guaranteed crits. You get that for free when your Phoenix expires. When your bird dies, you get Hyperthermia. Okay, so this also calls down meteorites. Each meteorite's impact reduces the cooldown of Fire Blast, which is very significant. That keeps the hot streak window rolling. Flame Barrier gives you reach. Hot streak gives you haste. This thing, when you're not Combustion, it's going to extend Combustion just like it extends Arcane Surge. Okay, so very same mechanic going on there. So you get a longer Combustion. That is very significant. Combustion's only 10 seconds, so getting 2.5 seconds on top of that is actually really insane. That's 25% more uptime on Combustion. That's what this thing basically says, which is very cool. And then of course we have the same big buff over here, the Glorious Incandescence. Consuming a Burden of Power. When you get a Spellfire Sphere, you're going to increase the damage of your next Pyro. You press that Pyro, it consumes it. Then you get Glorious Incandescence, which says your next cast of Fire Blast calls down 4 meteors, right? Again, gives you a cooldown on Fire Blast. Your spheres can go up to 5, which is cool. This one seems bugged to me because it says every 6 times you consume Hot Streak, conjure a Spellfire Sphere. So I guess reducing that to 5 actually makes this work better, right? Because then you have to consume less Hot Streaks. So for Arcane, it's like 5 clear castings. For Fire, it's 6 Hot Streaks, but you can reduce that by 1. Back up to 5 instead and make it happen more quickly, which is very good. And then you get Hyperthermia. So let me show you what this looks like. Hopefully this will be a little bit better. Basically, you're going to want to get into Combustion as quickly as possible. I, of course, have this talent, so I'm going to do a couple of spells before I get into Combustion. But remember, once I hit Combustion, as soon as I hit Combustion, I am going to end up getting that bird that's going to come out. Okay? We're going to do a little bit of this. We're going to do another Phoenix. And then we're going to go into Combustion, okay? There's my bird. Okay, we're into Combustion. Guess I should do this. Oops. We'll do this to trigger a Hot Streak. I already had a Hot Streak. That was a fail. Okay, now I have my window, my big window. I can just pyro. It automatically is gonna, isn't that cool? That's awesome. I kind of love that, and I understand that a bit better than I understand the arcane one, but they essentially function the same way. You get a massive moment there where you're doing all kinds of extra damage. And you're getting those in fire. In case of fire, you're getting them for, you're getting pyros for free. Sorry. In the case of arcane, you're getting arcane barrages for free. So you can see my damage is a lot better. That's not because arcane sucks. It's because I suck at arcane, and I have a little bit better of a grasp of how fire works. But the reality is that I'm just, yeah, arcane's not bad at all. Okay, here's my bird again. I do think that the fact that you get a bird, you get this phoenix based on your major cooldown. Okay, I've got my thing now. My phoenix died. Pyro. Look at that. That's awesome. I love that. I think it's really good. The fact that you get the phoenix based on your major cooldown is interesting to me, because on fire you can reduce the cooldown of combustion, right? Combustion. Let me just make sure I know this for sure. I think it's down here, right? Each fireball, pyro, fire blast, scorch removes the remaining cooldown on combustion by 1 second. So the fact that you get a phoenix based on casting combustion and you can cool combustion down is incredible for fire mage. I don't think you can cool down arcane surge. Let me check. I need to make sure I check this, or else because this is a pretty massive difference between the two specs, right? Arcane surge. I just put Surger, not Surger. Arcane Surge is here. I don't think you reduce the cooldown of this in any way except for shifting power, right? Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is a massive difference. You get a Phoenix based on casting your major cooldown, and Fire Mage can reduce the cooldown of combustion with their other spells and with shifting power, whereas Arcane Mage can only reduce the cooldown of Arcane Surge by pressing shifting power. So that feels like a pretty huge difference. The bulk of this tree has to do with that bird. You summon the bird, and then when the bird dies, you get this major buff to your Arcane Barrage or to your Pyroblast. So, like, I think this is just clearly better for Fire Mage. If this is true, that you can reduce the cooldown of combustion, but you can't reduce the cooldown of Arcane Surge. Okay? I think that's a massive difference to me. So there you go. That's SUNFURY in a nutshell. Those are the massive changes that have come through for Arcane Mage. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below about the arcane stuff, especially. Remember, the damage is all supplemental to change. I'm at 437 item level. I don't have the right stats, and I'm really bad at playing Arcane Mage, so please don't judge it that way. I'm assuming Arcane Mage will be just fine. I do think, however, this tree is definitely better for Fire Mage because they can reduce that cooldown on combustion. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you so much again for watching. I love you all. I'll see you in the next one.